Hello and welcome to the VooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. We're going to get started here in just a minute. Sorry about the short delay, but before we get started, could you just confirm that you can hear my voice as well as see my screen? You can just type that in the chat box and then we can get started. Thank you. All right, it sounds like everything's all right. Hello, Dean. Hello, Shade. This is the VooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. My name is Peter, and I'm the product manager of VooPlayer. We are holding these calls in order to answer any questions that you as users may have, provide training, gather feedback, as well as showcase new things that we've been working on here on the VooPlayer team. So the format of the webinar is pretty simple. At any time that you have a question, just feel free to drop it in the chat box, and we're going to answer them in the order that they come in. I see a low number of attendees, so hopefully we're going to get some interesting questions, but we might be running a little bit ahead of schedule today. Sorry, let me just pull up the application. All right, so until the questions start rolling in, I just wanted to showcase some of the changes that we've made recently in the application. So a new release of the application went out today with a lot of debugging and feedback optimization, performance optimization and feedback implementation items. But one of the major changes that rolled out, and this actually rolled out, I think, at the end of last week, is the update to how the player settings are labeled and organized and how you can access them. So no major changes here, and I even talked about this a couple of webinars ago with regards to this rolling out pretty soon. But just so you are all aware, if you're wondering in the future or now where a particular feature that you got used to, where it went. So the changes here were as follows. So previously, these three main menus for the controls were settings, audience events, which became marketing tools, and conversion tracking. So within settings, previously we had tab navigation. So these individual controls were up on the tops next to each other, which presented somewhat difficult navigation throughout those features, especially for users on smaller screen resolutions, which is why we've decided to change it from a tabbed menu to an accordion menu, so everything kind of collapses on one level rather than having horizontal navigation via the tabs. So the appearance and style, the player controls and advanced options were there previously, and they remain there just as different type of navigation. So with regards to some of the changes in labeling and organization, with regards to style, I think we only changed the video page customization, which was previously watch page customization. So now it's video page, in order to kind of be a little bit more direct with regards to what we're trying to communicate there. So that's the video page, the public video page for viewing. We've an additional change here was that we've excluded image on pause from styling section, and that moved to the options. So image on pause is now in options. And I believe everything else remains as it was previously here. With regards to player controls, no changes in the organization, just small changes in labeling of some of these features. So previously, I believe we had like allow download, which would change to enable video download in order to gather some consistency across the labeling. So now we just have hide and show, enable and disabled. for the player controls. So that's also pretty straightforward. With regards to advanced options, I think we added the words metadata here to social and SEO. So now it's social and SEO metadata. Image and pause, as I mentioned, was added from style to options. And I believe we have maybe just moved subtitles up a couple of notches on this menu. So no major changes here as well. So the only basic change here was moving the image on pause from style to options, where we think it fits much more naturally. All right, so now on to marketing tools, where the changes are somewhat more extensive. So with regards to the previously named locks, we are now referring them in marketing speak as video gates to kind of accommodate the expectations of marketers coming in. Locks apparently being somewhat confusing. So instead of previously, this was opt-in lock, share lock, password lock, SMS lock, and pay-per-view lock. So basically, they all just became video lock. They all just became gates. So that's the change there. With regards to interactions and CTAs, I think we just added the word evergreen here, and we relabeled markers as chapter markers. So that's the changes there. And with regards to conversion tracking, I don't believe we had any changes there. So those are just some small enhancements and reorganization which we made in order just to try to accommodate new users better and get them accustomed to the application a little bit. So hopefully this is not going to cause any confusions, and everything is still pretty clear and easy to navigate. All right, so it looks like some questions started piling in. So let's take a look at them for an example. Steve is saying no sound and only the VP Q&A weekly webinar call screen. So that must be frozen. So William advised to refresh the page. Try that, but something going on with the computer. We'll have to watch the replay. Hopefully everybody else is seeing me okay. Currently on my screen, there's a video with the bunny on it and a big play button. So hopefully everybody else is seeing that. Steve, as you know, the replays of this webinar are going to go out both on the Facebook group as well as on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. And Steve, if you have any questions which you would like to have answered before the end of the webinar for today, just feel free to leave them in the chat box, and I'll make sure that we get to them so that you can see the answer in the replay. All right. She's saying, is there a way to add notes to individual videos for our own purposes? No, there is no sort of internal note-taking system on any items, videos, or files or anything like that. Not necessarily sure that I understand what will be the benefit of that and how we could leverage that, or how that will be beneficial to our users. So I don't see any major enhancements to that. So hopefully you can figure out some other way that you can take notes, shade, and I don't know, maybe a spreadsheet of some sort, but definitely not something that we want to integrate. All right, let's see if there are any other questions. Give me a second here. I just want to pull something up if I can find it. All right, let's see. Vijay is saying, under advanced options, what exactly does preload video do? That's an excellent question. So here under advanced options, we have preload video, and that was previously allow buffer, if I'm not mistaken, one of the relabeled things. So the difference between preload video being on or off basically means that when the video loads on the web page, is it going to start buffering in the background? So is it already going to be buffered when somebody starts playing it, or is it only going to start buffering when the user hits the play button? So the difference and the compromise there are when if the buffering is not enabled, then there is a larger delay when the user hits play, because only at that point we are fetching the video and starting to load it up for the user. So that's kind of the obvious downside of it. But the positive side of it, and the flip side of the coin there is that it's not consuming any of your allocated bandwidth for watching your videos if you're not buffering videos in the background. So usually kind of the advantages of this are if you have a video on a web page, which a lot of people are watching, and it's really important for performance for that video to start playing fast, then we strongly recommend leaving this, which is by default set to on. However, if you have a video somewhere after 5 minutes of scrolling on your web page, and that loads and the user gets that after 10 minutes, it's usually not that urgent, and it's usually maybe the user will not even play it. So we kind of recommend switching that to off so it's not consuming your bandwidth. Hopefully that answers that question, VJ. Shade is saying use case, it will help us take notes on what each video is about, topics, etc. when you have many videos, say tutorial videos. So if you want to persist with this, we could kind of discuss this in a different manner, but the best practice usually is, so if I wanted to organize my videos and kind of figure out what they are, I would usually group them. So if I had videos which I wanted to have in a certain scenario, like, hey, these videos are about, I don't know, one type of a product or another type of a product, or for aimed at one market or at one campaign and so on, I would group them differently so they would be more easily understood when reviewing them, so that later on I can come into the group view and manage them a little bit better in that way. Otherwise, I would recommend also naming them as something relevant and unique. So my account is a terrible example of that, but I would usually know that this A/B testing video clone was the video that I was using for A/B testing. So as far as notes, I don't see that happening. It's just overwhelming, and it would cause unnecessary development, which I don't necessarily see a lot of benefits to. As far as the tagging system, same story again. I'm trying to figure out how tags would be different from groups. If you could have multiple tags, I guess. Yeah, something to think about. I'll write it down, the one about the tags, as that might have some uses that I haven't thought of yet. But notes, I just don't see that happening. So tags as notations for multiple categorization. So the only reason I see tags being useful would be for allowing search of a video and grouping of the video in numerous classifications rather than just one group. But then again, you could put one video in more groups, if I'm not mistaken. So if I have this production video and I also wanted to put it in the demos group, would that work? So production, and let me just refresh this. I'm not sure that I applied that correctly. So if that video is in production, and yeah, so this video is now in demos and production. So again, same as with tags, I don't know, secondary sort of a classification mechanisms for grouping the videos. I don't know if we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I'll note it down for considering tags. I'll add even the comment about notes, but yeah. All right. So good questions there. I don't know if we get a lot of feedback with regards to that, we can reconsider it. But I myself honestly don't see much use for a system like that. Tags maybe, again, also what's the difference so much between groups and tags? I don't know. All right, so let's see if we have any other questions. None so far. I wasn't able to pull up what I wanted to do for the demo, but we can do that next week. Let's see. Dimori is saying ways to improve look of the countdown timer. It goes on 2 lines rather than shrinking. Yeah, that's definitely a problem that we're aware of, Dimori. There isn't necessarily a way that you can control the display of the countdown timer. Unfortunately, it's feedback that's well noted and something that we're well aware of, and it's definitely presenting an issue on smaller screens such as phones and tablets and so on. So the countdown timer looks pretty terrible on those. So that's definitely something that we're looking to improve and optimize. So stay tuned on those optimizations. So let's see. VJ says you skipped my follow-up question. So for preload video, does it matter if it is hosted on VooPlayer or stored outside of VooPlayer? No, it doesn't. With the exception there of I believe YouTube videos. So if a video is on Vimeo or on your server somewhere, or on your S3 connection, or on Dropbox, or on Google Drive, or basically, I believe even on Facebook, anywhere with the exception of YouTube in some instances, the preload setting will be respected. I believe the only exception to that rule is that only may not apply if it is a YouTube video. Sorry about skipping that, VJ. Couldn't tags or keywords be good for SEO? Yeah. But those aren't internal tags. So if you wanted to, so this might be answer to Shade's question. That's a great suggestion, William. I'll kind of combine these two. So Shade, if you wanted to take notes, you could, but again, then you're not utilizing this feature entirely. So you could, for example, let's say if you're not utilizing the public watch page. So here I have this watch page, which is just public URL to this page, and let's say that I'm not using that. Instead of that, I'm just using the videos as embedded players on my website. So you could, in fact, kind of take notes in here. So let's say I wanted to take notes. So this video is about something else. Of course, this is not recommended to do, but if you want to kind of take advantage of this empty text field that you have here, you could just have it be here, and then you can just save this. But basically, the only way that this content gets used is on this page. So if you're not utilizing the watch page, and I think there it is, this video is about something else, then if you're not using the watch page, then you can use the video page content section for taking notes. So that might be a way of utilizing that. But with regards to what was I going to say? With regards to William's question, the tags for SEO, that feature is available under options and social and SEO metadata. So here you are able to customize the both the headline, the description, as well as the individual tags that can be used as keywords in SEO results. So here I could say shoes, I don't know, Nike, and whatever keywords you have, and you can just add them as tags here, separated by a comma. And you can also specify what you want as a description. So buy my shoes and really cool shoes. So those are the actual keywords and the actual values which are used for the metadata in SEO if you have enabled it and embedded the video on your web page. So hopefully that kind of works for that scenario, William. But if the tags that we were talking about for internal management were just in order to classify videos, you're able to search them in different ways. I guess I see some benefit to it. I really have to think about this. Sorry, I'll follow up on that. I just am missing some information there to connect it to value provided by the product. Demori, also have a white background on timer except just black. Yeah, so a couple of so back to the countdown timer on the live streaming feature. So the enhancements, of course, wouldn't be just making it look better on different devices, but also the expectation there is for some added customizations to the styling of the timer as well. We're probably not going to go too crazy with it, but we're probably going to allow for choosing between some predefined styles rather than allowing for full customization. So hopefully that's going to be starting to look and behave a little bit better across different devices, and also provide additional value by being able to customize it and match your brand a little bit better. VJ is asking, can we prevent Google from indexing the public watch page? No need to, I believe, as it is de-indexed by default. So unless you have explicitly came here to social sharing and SEO metadata and have enabled this SEO optimization checkbox, in that case, I believe no index is respected across both the video page and also all of the information within the embedded player. So unless, again, and this is off by default, so unless you've come to social sharing and SEO metadata and explicitly turn this on, then these settings will never be used for indexing your videos. All right. Shade is saying, good walk around, thanks. I know it's not what you were looking for, but hopefully it provides a kind of a quick workaround for that issue. William is saying yes for internal suggestions. Yeah, could be. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. We're kind of running out of time here, so we're going to start wrapping this up. I want to thank you, everybody, for joining this week. If you have maybe one more question, we can fit it in. Other than that, thank you again for joining. Thank you for continuing to contribute to development of WooPlayer and provide great feedback, which helps us improve. And hopefully we'll see you next week and continue the conversation. I'll follow up on a couple of these items, such as the tags and notes and the optimizations of the live streaming countdown, so we can take a look at that. We recently had actually a couple of more announcements, just so you guys are aware. We had a new developer join the team, so he's pretty great on the front end, so that's going to be kind of one of the starting things, I think, well, for him to get acquainted with the application, how it works. So we'll give him that task to kind of practice development on improving that countdown timer. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, also starting next week, we are extending our support hours. So there's going to be an announcement on that on the Facebook group, so you guys are well aware of. But we're going to continue providing support longer than we have now throughout the day. So hopefully that way we're going to be able to help you and address some of your questions much more efficiently. All right, enough rambling. So thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye.